Hey everybody, thank you for joining me. Welcome to our Habitat Now as we are celebrating the upcoming Glass International. I'm going to mute everybody so we can not hear some background sounds, and you're welcome to unmute yourself as you see fit. The week is here, our 50th International Exhibition back in 1972. Ferdinand Hampson and Thomas Boone and I think Linda Boone all created the very first national, carry it in and put it on display exhibition, and it must have been an amazing 70s event, wingtips and big collars. It must have been a lot of fun. So more of the story is the event continues 50 years later. So I'm gonna go ahead and mute you, Zora, for the minute, please. So you're welcome to join me as we travel through a little bit of the, not so much the history of the gallery, but into today's exhibition. Behind me, I'm joined by my daughter, Maya. She's our squid, keeping me company. And she's my little dream come true. And she's looking forward to going outside today because we actually have some great weather here in Michigan. So we planned it for the International to have great weather too. It all worked out. I made sure that happened. So thanks for joining me today. And, you know, this will be posted up on YouTube for those who love what we share with the world. And I'm looking forward to seeing everybody here during our event. So who's coming in? So let me go ahead and start sharing my screen. And let me see if I can find my magical button. There it is. And I'm going to make sure everybody's on mute. All right, we're good. All right, so you probably can see my screen here. So this is our little tagline here, celebrating our show. There's some videos incorporated in this. And a lot of the artists are in attendance today. So if I start talking and you're here, just cut me off. I want to make sure I don't speak for you as you discuss your work in this exhibition. So it opens for the VIP weekend, the 28th, which is the date of our auction, which is now online. And you're welcome to peruse and see the works that are sale on the secondary market. There are some amazing things in this auction and some beautiful pieces of history. Littleton Morris, Littleton Vogel, who's in here today, a piece of yours from the past, and a bunch of other things that need to find homes. So feel free to place your bids online or with me anytime. The virtual presentation is now online. I will actually show you. Let me kick out of this screen for a second and see if I can show you. So on our website here, there's a button here that says learn more and view online. And when you click that, it actually takes you to a view artwork button that moves you down the page. And the entire international presentation is now hosted on habatat.com. And there's some of the most amazing things you'll ever see created with art glass, as well as some of the most talented artists and some new people mixed in too. So I advise you to take a look and scroll as you see fit. If you have any questions, let me know. And I would say probably about 99% of these pieces that are added for this exhibition are in the show live on the floor. So I would be great to come see you guys, show you guys in person, should you be able to make it. All right, let me kick back into the PowerPoint. Here we go. Oopsie. All right, cool. So like I said, the International is up and running this week, starts Thursday, opens for the grand public on Saturday. And we'll start with Fumio. I know you're here, Fumio, and we have 3 of your pieces in the gallery. And I'd love for you to give us a little bit of a talk about your work. And correct me if I have the right title too. I'm not quite sure. It says 2022 Ver. Are you around, Fumio? Let's see if I can find you too. Let's go. There you are. Ask to unmute. There you go. Can you see that? Fumio, there you go.
Yeah, okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you fine.
Okay. Through my work, I express the connection between spirituality and the natural world and how everything in the universe is related. I suggest that our spirit is a genuine state of nature and can be attained through discipline. By blurring the distinction between 2 opposing ideas, such as beauty and ugliness, we can intuitively perceive the transformation process of creation. In other words, by transcending clear-cut dichotomies, the unity of the natural and the spiritual emerges. More specifically, the random and the natural fusion of glass, symbolizing impermanence, and the gold, symbolizing eternity, occurs, striving for physical and spiritual harmony between the two extremes. This is effectively achieved through the two opposing elements of transmitted light and reflected light. Thank you.
Thank you, Fumio. And these are magical pieces that are on display. The coloring is incredible and the depth. So when you see them in person, it really adds to the experience. Nicholas Africano is sending a piece in for the show, and it should be arriving, I think, tomorrow. His new body of work titled Boy, he's been working on for years. And if you have been on social media at all and follow Nicholas, you can see the drawings and the pieces come together. And they're very impressive works from this new body he's extremely excited about. We did a talk with him maybe last year or the year before, and it was great to experience him live and in person. And this is a larger than life piece. It's 14 by 16, so it's decently substantial, and I'm looking forward to seeing this one in person myself. All right, next, Shelly, I know you're around. You've been on my Zooms a lot lately, so feel free to jump in and Where are you, Shelly?
I'm here. I'm here.
I
Thanks
gotcha.
so much. Thank you so much, Aaron, for hosting this.
Got to unmute you again. Sorry, Shelly, you got muted. Go ahead. I hear you now.
Okay. My work has always been related and trying to start a dialogue between human beings and the animal world. This most recent work is to instill a deeper connection about the preservation of particular species, whether it be through just a memory you might have, or just something to bring your attention to the particular animal that I've created. This one, the sea blue steward, is using the horse form, which I've used my whole life. Ever since I was a kid, I've been drawing and painting horses. With this, I've used mixed media, which I do often. This has full-size scale mail. The armor that I created by downloading some instructions from the internet, which was very handy. But it's almost a life-size horse, and I have a really deep connection to the horse through my family history. So it's one that I always fall back on when I'm wanting to move forward with thought. The idea with this is to place a steward, a guardian over the animal world, and put our human characteristics on it, such as armor, in order to create a deeper connection between the two. Thank you.
We had this piece in our show in Sarasota, and it's larger than life. It is an incredible work, and it just goes to show your talent over the years, and it's just a showstopper. So thank you, Shelly, for joining us and being part of the show and being on a lot of my Zooms as of late. I feel like you've been in the last 4 or the 5, so you're the best. Shelly has a new limited, by the way, for sale through habatat.com. If you haven't seen it, get yours today. We've been selling a good amount of them, so join us. Next, Herb Babcock, probably one of the earliest artists to show at the gallery. Herb and Ferdinand Hampson, the founder, have a long relationship going back years. And his work can go outdoors and can go indoors as well. And it's about the object in your perception of reality. It's something you kind of identify with naturally, but it's a piece of art. And you might see a humanoid, you might see sculpture. They're very impressive pieces, and he does a lot of outdoor installations too. And we're honored to have Herb in our family for the years. All right, we go to Rick. I know you're here from Hawaii. Rick, can you join me? You may need to unmute yourself if you are around. I'll look for you too. This is what I do best.
Good morning. How y'all doing?
Hey, Rick. Good to see you, sir. Thank you for joining me today.
So I'm just dealing with trying to resolve my visual issues on a much more limited use of natural resources. We changed over, so we're making everything using only solar power. And so that limits scale, it limits a lot of things. I'm enjoying the new challenges.
That's funny. I've seen some of your photos of you've been creating in your studio, working on scale and size and putting pieces together. So I think we have 3 in the show, and this is what is this called? He told me the name of this.
This is splayed.
Splayed, right? So it's a spoon, fork, and blade all in one, and it mounts to the wall. So very, very cool. Thank you, Rick, for being here today, and I hope to come visit you real soon, my friend.
Please.
Right. Michael Behrens. Michael worked with Peter Bremers for many years and has taken off on his own, creating work inspired by the underwater aquatic life. He's a huge scuba diver in his youth, and he has also had a time of discovery due to a fire that burned his studio to the ground a couple years ago. So he's kind of having a rebirth as well. He also had a daughter who was born recently. So lots of changes in the world for Michael. We have a great display in the show for Michael as a longtime member of our family, and we're honored to have him. He won't be here today. He's doing I believe it's a photography research trip where he's traveling around Europe taking photos. So kind of gaining inspiration by traveling around the world. I can't blame him. I do the same thing. Alex, are you around? I know you're here somewhere. Would you join me, my friend?
I am here. And Rick, coincidentally, I was meeting with a solar expert this morning about installing solar panels on my studio. So I hope to be mostly off the grid sometime soon. Having, just ovens that I run, it seems like it's pretty doable. So having a sustainable studio sounds awesome. So
That would be awesome.
Hopefully I'll be behind you soon. So
yeah, look into the batteries. They'll make the biggest difference for you.
Yep. I may be asking you some advice here soon. So
yeah, feel free.
Anyway, so this is some of my new work that is actually taken inspiration from work that I had at the International probably 12, 14 years ago, and even before that, grad school. My process is cold working. So I do cast glass mainly, but cold working, cutting and carving and sculpting. So making sculpture. With these pieces, I was able to collaborate. These were made, the blanks were made. This is blown glass. And this piece is about 60 pounds, I think, the block of glass itself. These were made at the Tacoma Museum with 6 or 8 different gaffers helping make this. It's a kind of thing where realizing that I can only make so much myself, and having experts that can help me has really been freeing to explore new ideas. So to me, these have a lot of movement. As you walk around, they almost look like flowers opening up and closing. So how can you make a sculpture look like it has movement? So exploring that. They're also, I look at them as worlds, because you look inside and some of them have bubbles where it's actually reflecting the outside. I don't know if it's hard to see. I guess I'm not sharing the screen, but if you look at the middle bubble, what you're looking at is a reflection of the outside. So to me, it's very much a metaphor for human beings and the outside looking in and the inside looking out. Is there a video as well, Aaron?
Yeah, let me get to that so you can kind of explore the visuals of.
Okay, check for traffic. So what I really like about these is as they actually open up. So having a sculpture that looks like it has movement. The sculptures aren't actually moving, but I want sculptures that look like, almost like a flower kind of opening up or moving and twisting as you look at it. They are also standing on steel bases. So I felt like they needed their own stage. I have sold these without a base and with a base, but I like how they have their own stage. And so I took the rusty steel that I use on the glass and made basically rusty steel bases. And I think it works pretty well. So there's 3 bubbles in one and then 3 bubbles in the other. So it's this idea, almost like air kind of bleeding up from the inside of, or the bottom of a lake or water. And I guess that's probably my 3 minutes.
What's the body of work called? Do you have a name for this body of work?
I call them crystal worlds because to me they look like the world. I mean, I've been feeling very insular lately with COVID, and I think most of you know I have a son who's is also medically compromised. So kind of feeling like the whole world's around outside, and that I'm this inside insular. So this work is kind of inspired by my idea of little mini worlds.
Thank you, my
Obviously,
friend.
it's abstract, so people can see all kinds of different things. But
I'm looking forward to
it-
seeing these in person myself, and I appreciate you joining and sharing with us this new body of work as it grows and expands, man. I appreciate it. They
Thank you.
are incredible. All right, let's zip over to Jen. Are you around? This Birkin bag was a long time coming. She can always unmute herself if you're here, Jen. I don't know if you're around. So Jen has been exploring a lot of different ideas as of late and had some fun remodeling and redoing her studio. And this is the first piece that she's made for us in a while. It's life-size Birkin bag, and I believe it mounts to a wall. And I know she's had to remake the piece a couple of times due to problems in casting. I think she got in a car accident and broke the piece once too. Lots of fun stuff. But the work is finally here, and I'm displaying in the gallery, and I'm honored to show it. And she is also featured in our 12 Jars show. You'll be seeing her piece later on with when we get to that part of the exhibition. Peter Borkovic from Hungary, heavily inspired by water. We've been representing him for years. He is another artist that is extremely talented, has changed his style over the times. He had some pieces that were more, I guess, square, for lack of a better term, that were twisted, but he's diving back into these forms as he's mixing the square forms with his line forms. And these are fused glass pieces, I believe, and they're just incredible. Tim, are you around? We're at slide number 10, I think. So you can join me. I'd love to talk to you.
I'm here, yes, indeed. My
Gotcha.
continuing mission to look like everything I make comes out of Captain Nemo's submarine from Jules Verne. Here is Jules Verne 1 with the whole cast glass center. I appreciate you showing it.
No
About
problem,
32
man.
inches across, all cast. And I love the piece. So there you go.
And I promised you I would show you a different piece too, but for some reason I don't have it. So I will make sure to include it in a future newsletter. But we also have this collaboration that you and Michael did.
There we go. And Michael's here too, aren't you, Michael?
Yes, I am. And
Hey,
it's,
Michael.
it's great to see everyone online. I'm looking forward to seeing everyone in real life in Detroit. So I'm looking forward to the show. This piece Tim and I have been working on, and it's about the optics and what we see and how we perceive it in nature and how we make sense of it. Tim and I have been working on these panels for a number of years now, and I think this has come together almost the fastest of any of our works. And probably normally when we make these things, because we're dealing with two different people working at their own pace, and normally we end up with a lot of extra tiles that don't quite fit the story. But I think we only had like maybe 2 panels that didn't fit what our story was one way or the other. We collaborate truly on this, where we kind of say yes or no. And as we're making it, we discuss the process, because a lot of them are cast and there's a lot of mixed media components on it. The drawings I'm doing separately in a different space in the studio. So they kind of all come together at different times.
I would say that it took me an amazing long amount of time, but it's quick for Michael. But the purpose of this one was the examination of nature. So we decided to look at the optics, refraction, and reflections of glass and every way that glass astounds, and we love all of it, from the shadow puppets down to the magnifying. So we decided to look at the optics and look at nature, because we believe if you can truly discover what nature is about, you can discover the identity of mankind, even including the monkey looking at the human skull in the lower left corner. So it's an examination of nature to understand ourselves.
Who is the hand puppet expert out of you two?
That is Michael. Michael is the example, including the bunny whose shadow is a human hand, which I kind of like to reverse.
That unicorn is incredible. I got to practice that with my daughter.
Nice.
So Tim, I managed to find it real quick. So Tim is doing a series with us of not huge but modest scale pieces, and this is an example of one of them. How tall is this?
It's 16 inches across. It's called the Bookshelf series, and this one is just for the love of nature as well. That's a cicada in his hand, or her hand, and there it is surrounded by roses. So I decided to do a lot of the. I'm going to do probably 8 or 9 of these Bookshelf pieces. I did the first one for Tom and Ruth Kelly, which was a commission, and I decided I liked the forum so much. I thought I would make 9 of these. So this is the first of the 9, I guess.
First of the 9. Well, thank you, Tim. I appreciate that. Thank you, Michael, for
pleasure.
sharing right now. We'll kick into Christina Bothwell, who isn't here today, I don't believe. Her and Robert Bender were planning on joining us. Obviously, her work is about being a mother and about familyhood and being at home. And, you know, some of the stories change with the narrative of what imagination could be. And she was just here at the gallery. It was an honor to see her and Robert coming to visit us, dropping off these pieces. And I just love Christina's work, and I really want to support her and get behind her in her career. And we have a cat, I think, and this particular work and a couple more. It's worth seeing in person and online. So check her out. I love what she's up to, and she's such a sweet person. Peter Botas, also from Europe. Can't think he's Hungarian as well. Masterpieces of glass art, and this arrived to the gallery early for the international, and he sent it so early I wrote him, I said, what's this piece for? He wrote me back, it's for your international show. It's like, oh, okay, because we had a couple others come in for sales. A master of the material. I can't imagine the amount of geometry required to create what he creates, and he makes work on a museum quality every time. Bachazar might be here. He did a limited for us recently, and it was a smaller object similar to the work on the left, but it looked like the red piece on the left middle. And that particular sculpture received a lot of attention, so that inspired these other works, which are, I guess, maquettes of his larger pieces. And this whole thing will be on display for our show during our international, and they're priced really well. And I own one of these in blue, the red one in blue, which I really, really enjoy and keep in my office. So if for some reason you can't handle huge scale Latches or Boyajev work, these maquette pieces are to die for. And you can get the whole set at once, and they are just incredible.
Corey, by the way, you had them listed as Rick Beck on that last slide. So.
Oh, I did. Sorry. Yeah, it's Latches or Boyajev. And this is Aaron, by the way. Heike Brachlau, another artist that we've been showing as of late, and making incredible pieces, all of the kind of infinity symbol that flow into themselves, and they have such incredible movement and coloring and tone that everybody has to have one of these in their collection. She's moving studios in Europe now, so over time I suspect we'll see more of her work, but now it's kind of at a standstill. So if you really like the work, feel free to reach out to me and give me a call. Peter Bremers was going to be here today to join us, but I think he's traveling across Europe. So I requested these 2 pieces be sent to us for our exhibition. And I love Peter's work. I love his ability to create and non-stop cast and just push the limits every time. If you have a chance to see some of his books exploring what he's created in his career, it's definitely worth it. The vibrational pieces have to do with movement, have to do with receiving energy from the work. And this is a small example of 2 pieces, and they're big. You got a 59-inch piece and a 38-inch piece. And they are just absolutely incredible, and we thank Peter for being part of the show. Merrick Brinko, another artist we started showing recently, really experiments with the beehive form in his work. And if you look closely in the center of that piece, you can kind of see probably a mold taken off of an actual beehive honeycomb. And we've done really well with his work over the pandemic because it's new and interesting, as well as really, really well done at a museum quality material style and quality. And scale. So we're honored to have him in the show, and we have, I think, 2 or 3 pieces on display. Emily Brock, one of the artists we've had a long-standing relationship with. She's definitely slowed down as of late due to issues with health and other stuff. We're hoping to get back into receiving more of her work. Shipping her work has been kind of a nightmare, so we're having to work that out with Emily because shipping companies have been quite brutal, as many of you know. But we have Corey set up a big display of her work in one of the rooms in the gallery, and it's some of the most fun and interesting work we have on the scale of, you know, kind of like living spaces. And you can explore one of these works forever and find new and incredible things. Thomas Brazone, we had a few of these works on display in our show in the Glass Coast weekend and did quite well with them. Really well done, master of color, and they are just incredible pieces, very, very pure in appearance. He's someone that he's priced really well. He's someone that should be in your collection too. Nancy Callan did us the honor of participating in our Glass Coast weekend as well and sent us these 2 works, blown objects, just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful pieces. She did a collaboration not too long ago with Catherine Gray that we got a catalog for. It was fun to see how she's working with others and doing collaborations. She's one of the top in the field, and she's staying super busy, and we're honored to have her in our show. Jose, I know you're around here somewhere. Will you join us? It's great to have you in this exhibition with this new body of work.
Yeah, hi. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right. Yeah, these are a new series that I did at Tacoma at the Museum of Glass there, and they're pretty large scale, and they came out of an interest that I've had for quite a while with Chinese ceramics, and there are these Song Dynasty tea bowls that kind of stack, and I got interested in that idea of stacking these forms. And so the opportunity to go work at Tacoma was perfect, because these were, most of them are really large, and I don't think the photograph gives you an idea of that scale, but you know, 20, 30 inches tall, something like that. So they fit together, they're blown separately. And actually the influence for these, I saw a book, the inspiration came from Lillian that used to work at the gallery. How's Lillian doing?
She's still good. We see her every now and then. She goes out to dinner with Ferd and Kathy. It's great to see and hear from her, because she was around, I feel like back in the 90s.
Yeah, a long time. Yeah, I'm showing my age. But I used to stay at her house when I would come out for shows.
That's funny.
Yeah, and her daughter worked, I don't know if she still does, I believe at Sotheby's. And so Lillian one time said, you've got to see, she's curating this show of Chinese ceramics. And so I ended up getting a copy of the catalog, which I still have. I was looking for it. But anyways, this beautiful catalog, and it had these stacked tea bowls, which I just thought were incredible forms of really simple, minimal, but just gorgeous. But they're small. They're like maybe 4 inches tall by 4 inches across. And but that was the kind of what inspired me to to pursue these. And I have over a number of years in my own studio, and then went to Tacoma, and that's where they really took off. And so the 3 pieces that are in the international are from the pieces that I made there. But yeah, it was a lot of fun working with the team at the Museum of Glass. What an incredible facility. So anyway, so these are really different for me. For one thing, they're shiny. Oh my God. And yeah, I've had a lot of fun working with them, and we'll probably continue to do it.
Thanks, Jose. It's great. I'm looking forward to seeing these in person myself, and just diving into a different body of work is nice to see, and it's nice to see you're inspired and able to create from now into the future. And I'll be dabbling in the other colors of the other works you created at this at the museum, and now that I've had a chance to talk to you about them, it's great to have that kind of background as we explore this new body.
Great.
Well, thanks for being here, Jose.
Thank you for having me.
Most welcome. Be well. Deanna might be here. We had some of her work at our show in West Coast weekend, and she did a class down there that was a lot of fun. People really enjoyed, and many of you know her work from the vessel forms that she does in the pate verre process, mixing with copper. But she has also done these female figure forms, and we've done quite well with them as of late. And they are priced pretty well, and they sell quite well. And we're honored to have her in the show, and she'll be here for our event too. So come say hi. Amber Cohen might be here today. She was planning to go to Europe. I don't know if she's on her way, if she might be here. And it's always an honor to have her in our exhibition. And we have this work, and I think two others on display. And this one was just finished. And if you know her process, she finds glass and reuses it for creating her beautiful, beautiful wall sculptures, and creates these flower forms. And we've done, like I said, we did quite well. And I'm looking forward to seeing this one in person. I don't think it's out of the box yet, but I'm really looking forward to seeing it. Matthew Curtis from Australia, had a long relationship with him. Would love for him to come in, but we all know how it goes during the times we live in. And he's pushing this new body of work and pushing the scale to the limits. And these are actually blown and hot sculpted, and they're very, very thin. They kind of whole thing looks like a shark fin as it goes up and out. And the scale is incredible, the work's incredible, and the color is incredible. So come and see them live and in person. Aiken and Josh will be doing the demonstration for us during our event here at the Toledo Museum of Art. We're going to be going down there next Saturday to experience some of the glass show down there and see a demonstration by them. This is a new piece of theirs called Gypsy, and these two who are from Kalamazoo in the area of Michigan, we discovered a couple years ago and brought them to our Glass Coast weekend and had really great success. Their process is blown and etching glass. And this one just took my breath away because of mixing the colors like this with the glass. Sometimes doesn't, as many of you know, it doesn't work. And they were able to achieve it in this particular work, and is one of my favorites. Laura Donifer will probably not be here. She is stopping by, but I think she's heading back up north, back to Canada. We have 2 or 3 of her new pieces on display, and as many of you know, she's also slowing down right now to take care of her parents. But we're honored to have her in the show and show this masterpiece live and in person. This piece took about 2 years to make, and I'm glad it's finally finished, and we'll have it live on the floor. Jan Exnar, an artist from the Czech Republic, who I've always been very impressed with the scale and size of the work. Ferd and Kathy have a large blue one in their home that I've seen for years, and just the purity and the tone of these works is just incredible. And if you have yet to see them in person, we have them on the floor. Robert Bender, who might be here, is the husband of Christina Bothwell and spent many, many years as a children's novelist, and has dove in to creating glass artworks. And over time, you know, working with Christina, he's developed his own techniques and stories. And as many of you know, their studio burned to the ground a couple of years ago due to bad wiring or a kiln malfunction. And so they were able to rebuild. And as they're rebuilding, Robert came up with this new body of work of these, I guess, billets of glass kind of laminated together, creating these animals. And we have a squirrel, an alligator, and I think one more. Can't think it off the top of my head. Very fun, very light pieces, and quite enjoyable. Giuliano Geiger, which I hope I'm pronouncing right, is a new artist we're showing for this international. Sometimes we come across people that work incredibly, but it's hard to gauge the scale. And so we have 3 pieces in the show. I think 2 are red, and one is this kind of purplish color, which is quite nice. And it's just incredible to see what people are making. And we were kind of moved by the work, and we wanted to bring it to the show for the first time to see how the public reacted, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, we were always impressed. Natalia Gerskanovich. So we've had our eyes on this artist for a while. I believe she lives in Brazil. Is that right, Tim? I think you probably can give me the nod on that. And her work is extremely moving and relevant into today's, I guess, movements, which we're seeing constantly of people having the Me Too movement and all the other ones that are making people feel things. And this particular body of work falls into that. It could easily fit in a Not Grandma's Glass show too, because there's a narrative to every single piece. This boy, Waiting Boy in Green, is going to be an impressive piece to see. Unfortunately, because of how long it takes to get the work here, you won't see it live and in person during the VIP weekend, because it's not going to make it. But we're going to have it on display later on once the work arrives, and we're going to do something special for it. But I'm eager to see it in person. But we understand things happen. Hannah's around. Hannah, will you come join us? We took this picture and put it in of these beautiful Lego people.
Hello there. Hi. It's
you.
always a joy to be here. I love being here. So
see.
these are part of a series called the Reactivity series. So part of a body of work, recycling narratives, whispering sweet nothings. So these are my largest pieces of work that I've done, and the largest one is 16 inches tall. Usually they're found in pairs, whispering sweet nothings to one another, but these are 2 groups of 3. So one 16 inches tall, and then it comes with 2 smaller ones, and then the other one is 11 inches tall, and then again with 2 smaller ones. So it shows the reactions. So the glass is essentially sulfur and selenium bearing and copper bearing, and it shows the reaction between the 2 different types of glasses. So yeah, so two triptychs. A couple of years ago, Aaron mentioned do triptychs. So I've done it now. I promise. I've done it. So it's a joy to make. It was nice to increase the size and the scale, and it's a challenge. It doesn't come without its challenges, but it's been a joy to make.
It's great to see. Yeah, seeing the small ones next to the big ones, it's really fun to watch her achieve this level of size and scale. And I'm glad that you can do it. Honored to have you in the show.
Thank you.
All right, Susan, I know you're around. I think these birds miss you. It is an incredible chandelier we have on display in the gallery.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody in person next week. This piece is a Bluebird of Happiness chandelier dress, and it was a collaboration with Lisa Demigal, who did blew the birds for me. They're hollow, and that's always a challenge when doing the chandelier dresses, not to make them too heavy. And she did a beautiful job. And so I sandblasted and painted the birds, and I created this kind of bird cage, but it's a bird cage that they could easily just fly out of. So it's their choice to be there.
That's great. I love the
So I'm looking forward to seeing everybody soon.
Yeah, we're looking forward to seeing you too, Susan. I love the little nest on top, and it's just an incredible work. Is this thing actually have light bulbs inside of the chest piece there?
Yes, it's the bodice is lit up, and then also the skirt is lit up.
What's the difference between a bodice and a corset? I got to ask you.
Well, I guess it's a sewing term.
Good enough for me. Thank you. I appreciate it.
and functionality. A corset would be worn underneath something.
Ah, there we go.
And
now I get it.
And then when you describe the top part of a dress, it's described as the bodice of the dress.
Aha, thank you. Now I know my terminology. Thank you, Susan. Honored to have you, and thank you for being here, and looking forward to seeing you soon.
My pleasure.
Javier Gomez, creating work in Spain, sent me these two wonderful pieces for this exhibition. And he also sent these 360 videos. And as time goes by and people are buying more online, I suspect the demand for these kind of videos is going to increase. So if your work is in the 3D world, we started doing some here with the help of Andrew, but it's something to really think about because it really adds to the overall experience, because you can't always get there live in person, and we've been doing a lot of sales online. So he spent some time doing these, and we put them up on YouTube. They're very simple to put up there to share in videos like this and with people who have questions, and it helps with the sales. And he's a master of lamination and color, and his work's only getting better. We sold a piece of his in the last auction that was entirely green. But here's some quick advice too. If you are doing a video online, it has to be over 60 seconds for YouTube, or else they make it tall and they call it a short now. So play the video twice so it won't appear as a short, which is what these are, I believe, because they are less than 30 seconds and become really tall. So small tip as we dabble into the YouTube world that we're all diving into. So keep that in mind. But these are incredible. We've done really well with Javier's work, and we're honored to have him in the show. Okay, kick it. Let me make sure I didn't go too far. Nope, I didn't. Jack Graham. I met Jack years ago, probably at a gas show, had a chance to meet him, and his talent is becoming more and more incredible. I don't know how he creates these things, have the vision to have such movement with these works in the glass when it's hot, to create such things that are so beautiful and appear delicate, that actually create the visuals of a humanoid face or torso in the correct view. We're very impressed by Jack's work, and we're honored to have him in the show. Wilfred Grutens, I heard that Wilfred's coming in for this exhibition. It's gonna be great to see him flying from Germany. I think he broke 2 of his fingers recently, so I hope he's fully resolved and back in one piece. But this work is incredible, 18 inches wide, has layers and layers of gold paint inside of this laminated piece, and it is a true masterpiece. And we have another piece similar that's his square form, which is a little bit under 9 by 9 inches by 9. And we're honored to have him, and we're looking forward to seeing him. Philip and Monica, I think I saw Philip. Are you around? Love for you to join us and conversate about this piece.
Yes.
Great to have you.
It's great to be in this with you. It's extraordinary to watch all this work. It's absolutely beautiful what you're putting on.
Thank you.
So this is a recent piece. It stands together as a single piece. It's cut, overlaid, Italian in Calmo. and part of a series that we've been, a body of work that we've been doing the last 3 years.
Species
No.
novi.
Novi species, different aspects of the quirky personalities of people, if you wish, expressed in blown glass.
And it also highlights the individuality of the piece, but also the power of the group, which I think in today's days quite,
Pertinent.
Pertinent.
The title is sort of obvious, but there is something about 7 that is endlessly an attractor. Also 3, but 7 is an additional dimension of that. You don't see it in this picture. The piece stands on its own table, which is definitely part of the piece.
It is a beauty. I've seen it in the gallery on display, and there's other works that you guys sent for the show that are also incredible. It's an honor to have you both, and thank you for being part of this exhibition. And I look forward to sending you guys more photos of when the work is up. And I'm looking forward to seeing how the people respond. So you can definitely see that the pedestal's included because of the dimension of 65¼ tall. But
Yes.
I love the piece, and thank you again for sending it.
thank you for having us.
Pleasure.
Great to have you. Noel, are you around, my friend? I know it's early out by you, all the way down under.
Yeah, no, I'm awake, Aaron.
Great to have you.
Yeah, no, I woke up early, so it was, sometimes I get up in the middle of the night and work, and so it just sort of fitted in nicely. Thank you.
Most welcome. Well, tell us
Now,
about
this is a collage in a typical collage manner. It's cut and paste. It's not paper. These are parts drawn from blown glass pieces I make, which have always been around the subject of endangered species of birds, particularly parrot species. And it's collaged together, bonded with UV adhesives and Hextile, and mounted on a polished aluminium armature, so light will reflect back through the glass. And it goes on a wall, obviously. And I made this during a period recently when we had disastrous flooding around here. Disastrous, like a meter of water rained. They called it a rain bomb, meteorologically, a rain bomb, a meter of rain in 24 hours, and knocked out about 5,000 homes nearby. And the water was ridiculous, and we're still feeling the effect of it a month later. But I made this piece during that period. And I just moved to a new studio, and the old one I moved out of, I'd handed the keys back to the owner of the warehouse, and 6 days later, a meter of water curiously went through that. So I got out in the nick of time and made this piece up on top of a hill. Luckily.
What a story. Wow. So this is a new body of work for us. We're excited to show everybody. And we have some of your other pieces on display as well, the vessel form. So there's a great presentation by you, Noel, during this event. And thank you for being here, being part of our event. Honored to have you.
Pleasure.
Bernadette Hajavari. So we've had her in our exhibitions for a couple years, exploring space and the visuals, and we've done really well with the work. She's one that I think was in the Kohlberg runner-up prize in Europe, and so we continue to work with her and to share the work with the world. And there's a certain clientele that has an affinity for clear glass, and it's interesting to see. Let me put up mute. Interesting to see what. I'm getting some feedback here from somebody. If you aren't, I'm going to mute everybody again to make sure. Wait 1 second. And it's great to see this work on display. We'll have this new piece next to another piece we have in our inventory, so come and see it live. Tomasovichka is also participating in our 12 Jars show. We have a great display of his work, and many of you know he's been working with glass for decades now, and he's also the nephew of Pavel Halava. And his daughter, Petra Hurikova, is also in our gallery showing work and part of our Not Grandma's Glass exhibition. So it's great to see the three generations come together. And they look like beautiful masterpieces from a royal chamber. and it's only getting better and better. Honored to have him in the show. Pavel Hoskat, spelled with an E, it should be an O. A new artist for me in the gallery, and many of you may know his work, and he's been working with glass forever. I just copied his resume to our website. And so Corey is more familiar with the artist, but I'm honored to show him in this exhibition. He sent us 3 pieces or 4 pieces, exploring his beautiful and incredible technique, and the optics of his work are stunning, but I'm gonna look forward to seeing him in person for the first time during our event. David Hutchhausen sent some work for the show. It didn't make the slide, but it's on display. He's been out of the country for a while and has come back. I'm looking forward for updates from him, what he sends us, and many of you know his work already, and it's great to have him once again in the 50th version of the show. He's been in probably every single one of them. Sydney Hutter has sent 2 masterpieces for the show and his style, and he's starting to explore with blown glass in his pieces. You can see on the blue piece there. Wondrous and magical works, and I know they've been selling a lot as of late. I'm happy for him. He's also dabbling in the chandelier world, so it's nice to see Sydney creating and sharing. IRDS, who are 2 artists we've been showing over the pandemic. We did a talk with them as well. They have 2 bodies of work. One is cast, one is laminated. We've mostly been showing their laminated work because it's what our clients are most drawn to. They're just magical, incredible pieces of great geometry and scale, and they add a lot to the presentation during our event. Joe Ivacek, who works with, he used to be a street artist and dabbles with glass and really is pushing the medium into the future. He was a Not Grandma's Glass winner last year, and I'm looking forward to his exhibition coming up this year where he's doing a collaboration. It's an honor to have him, and he's a person who's someone to keep your eye on for the future as we push the medium into the future. Martin Yanecki sent this piece in for the exhibition, a thinker piece, and it'll be on display along with some other works we have by him. One of the if not one of the most talented working with the medium in blown glass. He's the rock star of the blowing glass world, and he actually has a studio now in the Czech Republic. He was working for years in Alaska, believe it or not, and I can only imagine what it's like working up there. But now that he's back home in the Czech, I'm sure he's making some incredible things and just sent us this particular work. Honored to have him, and he's a great member of our family. Michael, we talked about this piece. Are you around to tell us a little bit more about this body of work?
Sure. This piece is one of my large-scale portraits. It's a 3-part piece, and it features a sgraffito image of where I'm using glass powder to do the drawing of the figure, and I'm also making cast glass flowers that are mounted to the surface of the piece, so it has a real sense of dimension and texture, and the way that light goes through it and puts color and shadows across the piece is part of the whole effect that I'm trying to get with that.
Yeah, thank you, Michael. It's a beautiful work, and it's glad to have it in our show, and thanks again for speaking. Richard Jolly has participated in our exhibition once again, and I hope he attends the weekend. He's kind of a last-minute joiner, if he comes or not, he told me. He's also participating in the jar show. You'll see a crazy jar in a few minutes that he sent, which is actually a table, which I'm looking forward to seeing in person. Honored to have him, one of the best, and it's great to see him in this exhibition. Vladimir Klumpar, a student of Lebinsky and Brachtova. We've had some success with her work as of late, and her and her son Matthias are just creating some beautiful things. They had a lot of trouble at first with kilns and with glass, trying to figure things out as of late. A lot of artists have told me as of late that the material they've been using has been harder to get, and they've had to switch facilities. Apparently, as of now, Vladimir and Matthias have figured it all out. So only treasures are going to come pumping out of their studio from now on, and I'm honored to have her in the show, as well as Matthias, you'll see soon. Steve, you're around somewhere. Will you unmute yourself and tell us about your new piece?
There we go. Hello.
Good to see you.
Okay. This piece is about Cesare Baldacchini, better known as just César. He was a French sculptor from the 1950s to the 1990s, known for his assemblages and his compressions. The compressions were before John Chamberlain, but in a similar vein. and he was a jokester also. So there's a famous photograph of him with his pet parrot sitting on his head. And the two wings are because he was really taken with a guy who was known as a birdman. And birdmen were these people who were like stunt folks in the 1920s, 30s, 40s, who tried to use man-made wings in order to fly. And this guy, Leo Valentine, jumped out of a plane in an air show in England in front of 100,000 people, and the wings failed and he fell and died. And this impressed Cesar so much that he ended up making 19 sculptures using these with these wings that are assembled cast iron junk that he found in junkyards. And there's a famous drawing that he did where he did a self-portrait, and then he scribbled over it so that just the details of his face are visible, but you can still tell that it's Cesar. So what I did was I used stainless steel wire to make the kind of scribbling that goes in front of the cast glass head that's in the piece.
Thank you, Steve. Quite substantial. I'm eager to see it in person. I love to see your vision come together, because you're really getting it and you go for it. So it's awesome. Thanks again for being here, Steve. And thanks again for being here constantly. You're the best, my friend.
Yeah, thanks.
Littleton and Kate Littleton and John, Kate Vogel and John Littleton, are you guys around? Would you like to unmute yourself?
Yeah.
I can read your names right for the. Great to have you guys. Got some gimbals, I see, huh?
We do. And so these, it's been really fun. So these have sort of been a continuation of what we started right before the pandemic hit. And I feel like we're sort of we had that huge commission in Michigan that took almost a year of our time. And I feel like we're just getting back to like addressing some of the ideas that we had before that and getting some of those pieces going. And part of what's been really fun is these pieces right now in this photograph are static, but we're able to really play with all the different qualities of glass and how much it changes when the piece moves and the light moves through the glass and interacts with all the different surfaces.
So the movement is somewhat unpredictable. It's really dependent on how you actually start the movement. And it'll reverse direction, it goes slow, then it goes fast again. And the layers of glass inside are really our kind of micro, macro view of it could be a little egg or it could be the universe.
And these pieces have just been really fun for us because each time we start putting them together, you see something different that you did in it, and it gives you the idea for like, oh, the next one we do, let's try this, or what if that ring was more dominant? So we've been having a lot of fun with them. They'll be at the gallery next week.
So they also have a lighting as well as the movement inside.
Yeah.
Yes, they are quite fun, and I'm glad to see you guys innovating and making more of these. And the technique's getting better. I know they didn't have light, they had light, they're static, they're not static, and it's just great. I mean, they look like they're floating. You guys do an incredible job at making these these stunning pieces. Thank you guys for being here. All right, let's see, kickity. So I think I'm on Luli. Let me double check real quick. Yep, I am. So Luli is a production company of Luli Gongfeng, is a full name, that's owned and run by Loretta Yang. And so they do some sculptures and they're priced lower, but they can go up pretty high for her full-blown giant editions that she makes. But this is an interesting piece, and we talked with Corey for a bit, whether it's art or not, it's production. So it's something to think about, but at a certain level, it's appreciated. And this tiger actually sits in my office right now, but will be in the show. And it's really an impressive piece of art or glass that was made. And I'm hoping that with this kind of work in the gallery, people who would normally have trouble relating to some of the pieces on display can start here and then gain appreciation. So something new, something different. We've done the flowers in the past. You may have seen them at SOFA, the blue and yellow and green, purple flowers, but we're continuing with the flowers as well, but this is just fun to bring in. Carmen Lozar, who I'm a big fan of. I have 2 necklaces of hers that my wife owns that we've collected over the years. Just fun lamp work pieces, exploring different ideas. This particular one called Blow is quite small, but it's quite elegant and quite nice. And I'm a big fan of her and her work, and look forward to seeing what she does in the future. And I'm trying to convince her to work with me on a Habatat Limited that would expand over time. And I'm hoping that she considers it and participates. Lucy, are you here? If not, I will talk. These are incredible pieces that she made. Doppelganger 7.
I'm here.
Oh, great. I'm great to hear. Interrupt me. Please tell me about these masterpieces you made.
These are part of the Doppelganger series. So I've done 7. These took 2 years to finish, at least. The blue one came first. The purple one, Linda Ross helped me make. And thank you, Linda. And it's the doppelgangers are about, well, you might know what a doppelganger is. It's like that your identity, it's almost like an identity crisis. And I like because these figures are so large, they take a long time to make, and it's nice to be able to make 2 of them and have them relate to one another. And sometimes I do them in bronze.
Right.
So,
and they come with the stands as well. And
they come with the stands. They're very high stands. So
yeah, they are definitely an incredible achievement. And once you see them on display, they're life-changing. Thank you, Lucy, for sending these to us. I hope we find them a home soon.
I do too.
Nina, will you join us, please? I know I saw you earlier. Tell us a little about your work we have in our exhibition. Let's see if I can find it.
Sorry, it took me a while to unmute myself. So these pieces, most of my pieces are, well, my body of work these days is mostly inspired by the cycle of nature and plants. So the shape, the color and texture pattern will be inspired by different observations, which are all parts of the life of a plant. And I put all those ideas together and then make an abstract sculpture from those ideas. And to give you a detailed kind of explanation, is like the texture pattern is inspired by seeds and how they fit together, and the shape is a reference to how a plant moves through its life, and the color would be the life in it, and then the engraving would be the decay, to make more compost and soil for the next plants, the next seeds, and the next, and it's kind of a metaphor of how I work. I feel like every piece I kind of grow, and it kind of ends up being the old one, and then I have a new idea, and it just goes on and on like that. The way I make it is cast glass. I make all that in wax first. Sorry, my voice is I always get a bit nervous talking about my work. So I make it in cast glass flat. Then once I've cast it, I cold work the shiny surface, so it's flat with the texture underneath. And I put it back in the kiln, and I put my fireproof suit on and just go in there when it's hot and move it around. So sometimes it comes out how I thought, sometimes it's completely unpredictable, because the way I've placed my little seed units or the colors will make it quite unpredictable. But I like the hot work. I've mostly been trained in the hot shop. So I kind of want, even though I love the aesthetic of cast glass, but kind of wanted that hot, working it hot feeling still. So I kind of found my own way of doing that. And
it's very fun. It makes a lot of sense that you participate in the hot shop, whether you want to or not. I'm glad to see you have your eyebrows with that kind of process.
Yeah.
It can be quite
Yeah.
quite brutal, but thank you for being here and being part of the show, Nina. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
John Miller just sent me some pictures today, which I didn't have a chance to get in the show for the presentation, but you're going to see a new bucket of chicken and a big old thing of popcorn. You know how John Miller is creating some amazing fast food pieces. So he'll be here hopefully today or tomorrow to drop them off. So we'll have pictures on the website you'll see soon. John Moran, I know you're around. Would you unmute yourself and tell us about the works you sent him for the show?
Yeah. Hey guys. Yeah. First of all, I want to say thanks for putting this together. And sorry I won't see you guys next week. Yeah, I'm really excited about being part of the show this year. Yeah, these two pieces that I put in the show are like a lot of my work. They're kind of using a lot of social or societal problems and dealing with like innocence lost. So the piece on the left here was a piece I made at Starworks during residency. So it's completely hot assembled. So the whole thing is glass, which I don't typically do so often. It's quite a big one. And the piece on the right is like the body parts are sculpted and the rest is put together. But both of them have like a narrative that's kind of playing off of, this idea of innocence, and really a series that I'm working on that's kind of inspired by the Lost Boys from Peter Pan, and they kind of twist on this idea that I read that the Lost Boys were kind of victims of this Peter Pan syndrome. And I really find that quite cool and fascinating. So I've been, working with this idea. So that's it.
That's awesome, man. I'm looking forward to learning more about the Peter Pan syndrome after I Google it after this talk. And John's also been promoting his work on TikTok a ton. If you're on that app and you happen to be following him, which means you're under 20, definitely check in and see what he's up to. Hey, there's something to that, but I'm glad you're putting the word out there, man. You got to get it out for the young people today. So thanks again for being here and being part of our show.
Yeah, thank you.
Stepan Pala, I know Zora's here somewhere. Zora, would you join us and unmute yourself? It'd be great to have you and Stepan say hello. Where you are, I see you. I'm gonna unmute you. See if you can join us. So until she does, Zora and I have talked a lot via email, and we're honored to have her and Stepan in this exhibition. And she's working on an incredible scale of her work, starting with Stepan, who's heavily involved in the geometry of it. Zora, you unmuted? I think I can hear you now.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Good evening from Bratislava, Slovakia. Stepan is always using math and geometry in his work. In this case, he glued four sides elements where each one side is always curved, and he glued to spherical shape. When he glues more elements together, he will get all sphere. And I think for this, that's it. He is showing more at the exhibition.
Yes, there's a few pieces on display as Zora, who has sent in this new body of work. We've had a piece before of a wall sculpture you're experimenting with, which is fun.
Yes, I have been on the cruise on the river Danube with our friends maybe 2 years ago in autumn. It was a beautiful day, and I made some sketches and of landscape, and the air was sunny, and then earth was full of red leaves, and water was completely blue. Then I made this relief, what is brand new in my creation, because usually I made 3D sculptures, and now I try to make something on the wall. And I put some rings to have a distance between the wall and glass, let light go through the glass. It makes a difference.
It does make a difference. Thank you, Zora, for being part of the show. There's a few pieces on display along with her husband, Stepan. So honored to have you. Thank you again.
Thank you too. Bye.
Bye-bye. Matthias, who is, we talked about him briefly earlier, Vladimir Klempar's son, and creating work heavily inspired by water. we'll have a couple works on display of his as he's pushing the medium into the future and working in an incredible casting style, just like his mother, someone to keep your eye on. We've done quite well with his work over the last few years. Sibylle, are you around? I'd love to talk to you about these beautiful lovers in red and lovers in blue.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yep.
So first of all, I'm really disappointed that I can't join the live event, but I had to fly to Germany unexpectedly and have to stay here for a while. But at least virtually, we can connect, what's really nice. So I will have these two sculptures in the exhibition, and both of them I made during an artist residency at Northlands Creative in Scotland. And let's see, the idea, it's basically a very simple idea. I wanted to create a very intimate, very tight and very trusting and close relationship between the two hawks. And on the left side, I used, I think it's a scarlet red, and I topped it off with some clear, so you have all these different kind of densities in the transparency. And on the right side, I used like a gray blue with a little bit of pink and also clear. And maybe some people are already familiar with the idea that I use a lot of birds of prey in my work, falcons or hawks. And for me, these birds of prey, they are kind of a metaphor for wisdom. They function as messengers. They are also guardians in my work. And they are known for their incredible eyesight. And they may see things we can't, or we just oversee. And for me, the hawk or the falcon, these are basically animals who also function a little bit like a prophet. So they have a knowledge we are missing. And the titles are very simple. It's Lovers in Red, Lovers in Blue. And like I said earlier, it's mostly about their intimate connection to each other. I think that's it.
Thank you, Sibylle. Appreciate you joining us today and wishing you best in Germany, and hope you are able to get back soon. And we'll miss you this weekend, okay?
Yes,
Thanks
I will
again.
miss you too.
Beautiful works.
Thank you.
Morgan will be here during our event, giving a talk during the, I think it's Friday morning at 10 a.m., talking about her career and her work. And I'm really looking forward to that. She's really pushing the medium and pushing the style of what she creates into the future. And this is one of her pieces she created for the show. The other one is from a character from Pulp Fiction. You'll have to see it on their website. And she's someone that I think you really would enjoy, especially now into the future. We're honored to have her. Jenny Pullman and Sabrina Knowles are part of our show, and we are reinstalling the huge giant spear wheel we had down in Sarasota. We just installed it, I think, yesterday, and it's coming together really well as an impressive 90-inch piece or something. And we're once again honored to have them in our event, and you'll come experience their work live and in person on the floor. David Ricci has sent us some new work. His daughter, Morag, is going to be our next presenter in an NGG exhibition in May. So stay tuned for that as she makes work attuned to her family, which is very, very important. So let me see who's getting feedback from. So this new body of work David was excited about, called Displaced, and you can see these humanoid characters carrying these homes. And his work has a subtle touch of humor, and we've represented him over the years, and I'm eager to see these works live on the floor. Colin Reed, we did a talk with him not too long ago about his career, and he has slowed down at the moment creating artwork because I believe he's getting married finally to his longtime partner, which is amazing news, and we wish him the best. We've done quite well with these cast forms. He does some in this particular style. He's done them in the past too with different reflections of different food objects. Just an incredible talent. We're honored to have him. Kate Rhodes, who we've represented for years too, creating these marine and woven forms. She's dabbling more in 3D work. She usually has done orbs or done wall panels. This is one of the first freestanding pieces she's created for us, and it has quite a colorful presence, and it really glows on a table when it's lit properly. Ross might be here. He's in this show as well as the 12 Jars show, exploring a new body of work of these shiny, beautiful, lustrous horses on stands. And I'm excited to see these in person, excited to show them for the first time. We have this piece and a tan piece, as well as the jar piece you'll see very soon. Michael Rogers is somebody that I guess we've tried to get in the gallery for years, and now we finally have an opportunity to show these new cast boat forms. Very interesting, and I'm excited to learn more about this artist as time goes by, but I guess he has a long history in the glass art world, and I'm looking forward to seeing there's a blue one or turquoise one, as well as a red one in the show. So either way, I'm looking forward to seeing him live. My phone is ringing somewhere. Get rid of this. I'll be back. All right, so Marlene Rose, are you here? I saw you driving. Would you unmute yourself and join me, please, if you're still around? She may have signed off, but Marlena has been creating with us and a partner for a long time, working in her sandclass style. And this is a new thing for her, these giant panels of color that I haven't seen live in person before. And we have these as well as a beautiful owl that we'll have on display in the show. And I believe she'll be here for the event. So I'll have a chance to talk to her and see her in person. Richard Royal, this is the first time you're going to see this body of work by Richard. It's brand new. They are very beautiful and very exciting to see this come together. He talked it up for a long time, and I think we have 3 of them in the exhibition. This new kind of diamond cut form from the series. We have, I think, this one, which is called red, a yellow one, and a green one. Quite impressive work, so I'm looking forward to showing people these live on the floor. Davide Salvadori, as many of you know, we've shown Davide for years and have an incredible collection of his work available. He's one of the most talented glass blowers in Murano, one of the, I think, 4 represent. And this work is a masterpiece at 51 inches wide. It's definitely worth checking out on the floor here. Let me see who's unmuted themselves. I'm hearing myself again. Apologize, everybody. There we go. All right. All right. Next, we have a new artist for our gallery discovered in Japan. Mauricio Saki is my best attempt at pronouncing. Heavily inspired by the ocean and by the sea. These abstract forms are really interesting to be including in our exhibition. As the world gets smaller, we're finding more and more artists around the world. And this is one of the artists we tried to bring in for our earlier exhibition in January, but it couldn't make it in time. And so we wanted to make sure we had a chance to had an opportunity to exhibit the work. And it's pretty impressive when you see it live and in person. And we're looking forward to getting the response from our visitors. Jack Schmidt, who is in Ohio, we've been representing to him for decades as well. These forms are quite stunning, and sometimes he makes work that can go inside or out. And I think last year we had 9 pieces on display during our exhibition, and I'm looking forward to seeing what Corey puts out during our exhibition this year. Mary Schaffer, we're grateful to have in this exhibition. She has these rope works that she's had for a little bit that we're going to be displaying for the first time that are coming off the wall. She just created a new book too. If you haven't had a chance to see Mary Schaffer's book, definitely pick it out. It's a great read and a great visual legacy of her career. Raven Sky River, one of the collection of many talented artists we have from the Seattle area, one of the best that creates in the life form of animals. And I think we have this giant wahoo fish. It's fun how it hooks around the tail to see how it stands in real life, but it is a beauty. And we have a giant turtle as well and one more piece. Grateful to have Raven in the show. Paul, our buddy from New Jersey, one of the best paper makers in the world. Enough said about him. You probably all know his work. You probably all own a piece of his work. It's easy enough, but we're definitely a big fan of his and grateful to have him in the show. Michael Taylor, another artist. I think he lives in New York and Florida. An amazing artist exploring geometry and work. And we have a few of these pieces that are kind of smaller in scale that he created, and they can be displayed in different ways. And we're honored to have them and eager to see what Troy puts out. Winnie Tesselmacher just sent these from the Netherlands. They're quite large. You can see at 37 inches. They're quite stunning and pure in tone. We've been representing Winnie for a while, and she's had some events and exhibitions in the Netherlands, and we're grateful she can take the time to participate in our show here in Detroit. Honored to have her. Demetra, are you around? I know I have this picture. I think I'm waiting for another one. It's purple, right?
Yeah, I sent that to Mia yesterday.
Oh, good.
So you have those. And yeah, so I create flamework sculptures that are woven or entangled in some way. This piece, Falling Apart to Fall into Place. You know, I really try to convey emotion in my work, whether it's something more representational like a bird's nest or something more abstract like this. I'm using these forms to serve as a metaphor for the human experience and kind of pull from, you know, narratives either in my life or people that are close to me. And Falling Apart to Fall into Place is, as you walk around this piece, you'll see parts that are more contained, and the part that we're seeing here is kind of tumbling out and unraveling. And it's just a way to express that, you know, as life is unraveling and it feels like everything is falling apart, sometimes we don't see that sometimes that low of the journey is necessary for things in life to really fall into place again.
Very nice. I love the display too on the stone.
Thank you.
Eager to see these in person. I do love the style and the tones as you explore the depths and the positive negative space. Very fun. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Kimberly Thomas is a new artist that we're showing this year for our international. She went to RISD and just happens to live here in Detroit. We had the opportunity to bring her into the show for the first time. This is a wall-mounted piece called the Cloud Capturing Apparatus, which are inventions she just comes up with and then makes in a flame working style. And we have 3 on display, and she also has another body of work that ties to the earth, less ethereal, that we have she has on display at the JCC, in the Janice Chera Gallery. We're going to be visiting during our glass weekend. So we're excited to see the response for her work. She's quite a visionary, and she just joined the Glass Art Society as the board member. So kudos to her. Margit Toth from Hungary, been showing her work for years. This is probably one of the most diverse pieces I've ever seen her make, with multiple animals around the pate vert piece. It's just a fun, beautiful work, and we're honored to have Margit in the show. Stephanie Trenchard, I'm not sure if you're here. We've had her work in the last couple of exhibitions and have done really great with selling them. And so she's continuing her, I think it's Coated Women on the Precipice series with these 3 figures that we have on display in the gallery. There's a great video of her, or pictures of her making these works in the style of sinking the forms in once they're created into the glass during the casting process. And we're honored to have her, and they are fun, beautiful. We have Vivian Wang's work in the show. Right now, she didn't send anything new for us because we've sold out of her pieces, so we're looking forward to what's coming next. But we do have this particular work left of her City Kids series Trench Coat, which is what we offer here at the gallery, and we're honored for once again show her work. Katrina Weintraub, the Dilly Dally piece. We had this piece in our gallery, and she's sending another piece for the show of the same series. Beautiful, fun work. You know, I own a piece of this I bought for my wife for one of our anniversary a couple of years ago, a single rabbit on an orb. And she's another one that's on TikTok and Instagram, getting the word out to the younger people of what's going on in the world, and we're honored to have her. Richard, are you around? I know I saw you earlier. Sorry, we're down to the W's, but it takes a while to get down there to you.
Yeah, not a problem. Thank you so much, Aaron, for inviting me to speak. And it's lovely to see so many friends and colleagues from all around the globe. So this work, Omit, was from the last major body of work that I made for a show that we did just prior to moving from Canberra to Corning here. And these works are organized. This is quite a geometric work, so these voids are organized first, and then the relationship between the translucency allows that reading of interior and exterior. So I really enjoy that. Colors are usually pretty subtle because they can easily overpower the form. But I've also found more recently, and particularly with this work, is the each color has its kind of own emotional power. And sometimes it's like you think about what that color wants to be, what form, rather than developing a form and then coloring it, thinking about the potential of the color as a driving force. So that's been fun. And so I'm still developing new work, and you'll see that pretty soon, Aaron. But yeah, still building a studio here in Cornwall.
Thank you, Richard, for joining us. If we have a good collection of his work that was, I believe, in Shanghai, that's now on display in the gallery. So
that's right, yeah. And Corey actually flew to Shanghai. That was the first museum show that I did, and Corey flew over there to select the work to bring back to Habatat. So it was really nice.
Yeah, must be nice to go to China. I'm sure he had a great time out there.
It was all before the pandemic, right?
Right, right. That's all you can complain of. Can't complain about that. But thank you again for being here, and beautiful things, beautiful works. Leah Wingfield is, we have this work in the gallery putting on display representing her. We've had a long relationship with Leah and Stephen Clements, and we're honored to have her. And I just find her work very, very powerful. I'm looking forward to what she does next. We have some exciting news coming up for her real soon. Hiroshi may be here. We have 2 new pieces that just arrived to the gallery in his form of celebrating nature in the, I guess the word Orient is right anymore, but his style of Japan and the experience of the world. So we're honored to have Hiroshi in the show, and I'm a big fan of his. And if you ever met Hiroshi, he's one of the nicest guys on the planet. So honored to have him in our show. Brent Keyoung created these 2, I would say, incredible masterpieces for this show. The piece on the left is with the 3 boxes stacked, is simply breathtaking when you see it live and in person. At 40 inches tall, those 3 boxes are absolutely perfect in symmetric style and tone, all stacked together. It is a museum quality piece, and it is simply life-changing when you see it in person. If we had a system, I'd have it spinning at the gallery. We don't have that, so you'll just have to walk around it. But honored to have Brent in the show, and again, one of the nicest people I've ever met. Udo, I know you're here. I hope your sound's working. Are you?
Do you hear me?
Yes, you sound great.
Yeah, because I had some micro problems earlier, but okay, I'm happy to be with you. And yes, as Richard said earlier, the color has a certain power, an inherent power, and this is my my theme for 40 years now, and so I continue to dive into this world of color. And these 2 pieces, these 2 paintings, a painting sculpture. I'm coming from painting, so it's more the 2 dimensions of a painting. I try to bring a 3rd dimension to it, in order to express the deep and emotional qualities of color. And it's nice to have these pieces in opposition. And so you have the a bit countryside, the landscape pieces. I'm living now in the Côte d'Azur in the south of France, and I see the sea in front of my home, and all these changing weather performances, and they have quite an inspiring power to express also the emotion which you can find in the natural realm. And as on the left piece, it's quite a dark in a dark mood. Has something to do with the emotional situation, also in the political situation of this year. But I made it in 2018. And the red one, it's more of it, sunset-like piece, sunset-like emotion. But as you, all your colleagues see that the the three-dimensional position of color it's difficult to show in a two-dimensional photograph. So I'm sorry, there's my telephone is ringing.
I could
Thank you
definitely
for the invitation, Aaron. Thank you very much.
thank you, Udo, for being here. And you can definitely, I can definitely understand the concept of having a response of emotion from color. And these definitely have that kind of tone and can adjust the mood of anybody in any room. Thank you, Udo, for being here. All right, so now, without further ado, we're going to kind of just go through a small preview of the work in the 12 Jars show. So there are 12 jars, 12 artists are invited to the show, and with a little bit of juggling, we managed to get 12 jars in the show, which is great, because there are some people who weren't able to do it, and people that are still able to do it, but are not going to make it in time for the show. But we'll quickly go over the 12 jars as a preview. We've been promoting the show on Instagram as of late and are real excited for how the show will look, because on average, the jars should have been 36 inches tall. So they're quite substantial works. And this first one is by Tim. Tim, are you around? Say a word.
I am here.
Oh, good.
So the isolation and liberation of the boy who was all thumbs is a self-portrait of myself as a very socially inept, insecure young man who didn't seem to be able to make anything or draw anything. And I always felt awkward about it, so I retreated into the world of books. So in the true spirit of a canopic jar, I have isolated, instead of a body part, my own insecurities are inside, although I do not plan on taking them into the next world. I'm going to leave them behind encased in glass. So that is my canopic jar.
Thank you, Tim. So the idea behind the show is the 12 jars, a path of life, which is a little bit of the artists themselves giving the story of a part of the story or a portion of their life in the pieces they create, because the jars kind of, you take an object, put it in the jar and close it forever. And it's interesting to see how that was interpreted. So thank you, Tim, for being first.
I love that piece, by the way. I might keep it myself. Right.
Perfect. This is Karen Willoughby Johnson, who is invited to the show as well. She created this masterpiece in her style of nature and exploring. She asked me during the process of this, it should have like a rough luster or a shiny luster. And as a proper art dealer, I said, whatever you want to do, it's fine with me, Karen. And she decided to leave the shiny luster on the piece. And I'm eager to see this piece in person. It's in a multiple set of boxes before it goes on display, but it's totally her style and her idiom of creating. And there's life in there, both organic and natural, and exactly the owl on top. So it's exactly what I was looking for from a piece from the artist for the show. Thomas Avichka sent this Chisano, I think is the proper term. And I think that's the type of drink, because I Googled the term and it's a specific kind of drink served somewhere, probably in Italy. And this was one of the first ones submitted for the show. And it's 31, almost 32 inches tall. Very, very fun, and the style of Thomas Avichka's fused glass style. And I'm eager to see this one too. Michael, would you join me and talk about your piece, which was an early piece that was received too? Image.
I'd be glad to. When you sent this as a challenge, you said you wanted it to be a jar that has a top on it and had all these certain parameters that I wanted to approach, even though I'm working in more of a flat fused medium. So I said, let me treat that as a challenge to say, how do I create something that is really outside of what I would normally do? And that's how I wanted to keep true to your essence of saying it's a jar show. So I actually took that as my direction. So I actually did sgraffito imagery of jars with butterflies or fireflies or different kinds of, I think I used dragonflies in one of the other images, and I have them being combined with a crow. And to me, that's much more of a classic kind of seize the day of you're having a whole sense of where we're going in the lifespan of a person, where you have life trapped in the jar, and the crow hints at mortality. But I wanted it to be something where you're just saying that it's about, you get to savor every second because it all has to count. I also made cast glass flowers, and I underlit it with LED lighting, so it all kind of glows as a nice sculptural piece that will be hopefully a nice addition to your exhibit of 12 jars.
Thank you, Michael. I appreciate that. I'm glad to see you took it and made your own, which is the whole point of this. And congratulations on creating a beautiful piece. Ross Richmond, similar to the work we saw earlier with the shiny kind of horse style, a blown glass vase underneath it, nailed it in his own idiom as well. You can see he took what his experience can do and created this beautiful jar representing what he's doing now, which is currently in his life. This was Richard Jolly's piece, which is way out of the box. He created a table with jars on top, different things that add to the madness, I guess, that, you know, he deals with every day, different objects, different forms, both pieces that are small and shattered maybe inside the jar and pieces that are out and around. And he painted the table as well. And I guess there's a candle that is lit. So, you know, he went wild with the idea and came up with this for his still life for the jar show, and we're honored to have it. Shelly, many of you may have seen this work during her talk. And Shelly, if you're here, you're welcome to say a couple words similar to what you did before.
This is the story of one day fishing with my brother, who fought for at least 30 minutes to bring this salmon in, only to have the line break right at the end. So we sat there, we were disappointed, but the salmon was lost. And a few minutes later, we saw this otter had retrieved it and was sitting on the rocks with his family enjoying it. So that's what this piece is about and represents. And of course, there are fish hanging around that I tied on with leather, and with the exception of the one that the otter caught.
Thank you. I like that story. It's very fun. So whoever buys this piece owes Shelly a salmon dinner, and her brother. Great story. All right. So Jen, I know you're here. Jen, would you join me? Please, I'm eager to hear about this piece as well. Thanks for being here. I talked about your purse earlier. If you want to cover that too, you're welcome to too.
Oh boy. Sorry, I was walking my dog, and Demetra had said, "Where are you?" So luckily I was told to be back online. So sorry about not being here. So yeah, I just made this like literally right as it was going into the show. And I decided during the pandemic, my husband and I moved to a place that has a beautiful garden. And so I decided that I wanted to encase myself in this beautiful space. And I've gotten more and more into bronze with glass. So the little dress, it was actually a dress of mine from when I was a little girl, like a baby. And I decided to make her decorated in also the flowers of our yard. And then I have a dear friend who works at Corning who blew the dome for me. And the base is also all flowers from my garden, and it's kiln cast glass. So yeah, so it was just kind of about how I'm in this world outside of what else is going on in the rest of the world, and secluding myself. So apparently I have a flower thing now. So with the Birkin bag, I decided to make something on a wall that normally people, I never actually knew what a Birkin bag was, to be honest. My husband said, I was like, I want to make a purse. And he said, what about a Birkin? I'm like, what's that? So apparently he's more fashionable than I am. So I decided that I wanted to make something that people elevate as the epitome of class, and then also decorate it in my style with tons and tons of flowers and make it this kind of juicy raspberry color. So yeah, I have a flower thing going on right now. And but no, I just love working in the combination of especially bronze and glass.
Very great. Well, thank you, Jen, for joining us, and looking forward to seeing you soon.
Oh, and it does fit the parameters because it's on an antique table.
Right. She got it up to the height. Thank you, Jen. All right. Ekin, Atek, and Josh Davis are in process for their jar, and they sent me this process shot of what's coming together in their studio. I don't have a professional shot yet, but I wanted to give everybody a little teaser of what they're working on for their jar, which I'm eager to see in person. It's fun to see how this challenge was undertaken by the artists that were invited to the show. And as this is coming together, I'm eager to see what it looks like in person. I've given Corey and Rob the reins of setting the show up with what I kind of like, but what, they do whatever they want, and I'm eager to see it on display. So the last piece in the jar show is an interesting one done by Clifford Rainey. And Clifford, as many of you know, like Christina Bothwell, had a fire that was called the Atlas wildfire that took out his studio and home in California. So he created this jar with a piece of his old studio that burnt in the fire. And it has under a dome, so it qualifies and technically for the jar show. And they're all numbered. This one's particularly an artist proof. So I'm looking forward to seeing this one as well in the show. This is a very powerful piece from an emotional moment from an artist in the Habatat family that we've been standing behind. A lot of the artwork, all the artwork he had in his studio was destroyed. And the artwork that we had in our gallery, which happens to still be there today, would survive the fire because it wasn't on site. And so we're happy to have that kind of ability to continue his legacy and his history, despite the fact of this traumatic event that happened in his life. So without further ado, that ends the presentation. I'm grateful for you guys to join me. This went a little long, but it's worth every second. And I'm looking forward to seeing many of you live on the floor during our event, or come visit me afterwards, both artist and collector alike. And it's great to have you all in our Habatat family. Do check out the Habatat website to view the work. It's all online now. We're adding more pieces as stuff gets finished because everybody likes to take their sweet time, and I understand, because you're not creating it a piece over and over again. You're creating something unique every time, which is the most difficult phase of creating, is the prototype phase. So every masterpiece you create, I'm honored to share with the world. So contact me anytime for any questions. I look forward to seeing you all very soon, and have a great Saturday. And love to you all. Be well.
Bye.
Thanks again, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Bye-bye.